Welcome to episode 8 of Crash Test Diva. I'm your host, Christy Eichers. It's the first week of the new year. The resolutions and thoughts about new beginnings can be daunting. We've got an idea to simplify things and take the stress out of New Year's resolutions. I'm happy to report the Renaissance Rebel is finally feeling better, and we have a very fun Long Distance Serenade. And the Yiddish Yapper is back to give us a very big lesson in Yapping Yiddish. Let's get started.
Also.
This is the part of the show where we clarify things that may have been said in previous episodes, interject any thoughts we may have overlooked, and feature the feedback we receive from you guys. On episode 7, we talked with Foodie Curious food blogger Jewyl Clark. As you may recall, my Uncle Pat suggested she would be a great guest on the show. He was so right. I can't tell you how many listeners reached out to tell me they loved having Jewyl on the show. Now, I'm crossing my fingers that we can have her back in a future episode. As you can imagine, coming up with segment ideas and guests for a weekly show, it's a bit daunting. If you guys know of somebody you think would make a good guest, please take my Uncle Pat's lead and send us the recommendation. I'm also happy to report that I served Jewyl's mystery box spam and stuffing Endive Boats to my family on Christmas Day, and the appetizer is surprisingly good. We've linked to a photo in our show notes. In last week's bonus episode, Liza Atkinson and I discussed our favorite podcasts, and our digital marketing diva, Josie Eichers, is here to share her favorite.
Also, my first and one of my favorite podcasts is Anna Faris' Unqualified. Anna Faris hosts a new celebrity guest each week, and together they give listeners unqualified advice. I love it because you get to hear about celebrities' lives when they are not in the spotlight. It's great because you can pick and choose any episode to listen to, and the theme music is almost as catchy as ours. My favorite episodes to listen to were Katie Couric and Eric Stone Street, but all of them are just as enjoyable.
Thanks, Josie. Josie also shared with me that while at a Christmas celebration with the Olsen side of her family, her Aunt Sarah Mackenzie told her she liked to listen each week, and she did it while she was on her treadmill. Since this is a new year, and we know many of you will be spending a bit more time on the treadmill, we thought we'd pass on this podcast listening idea. In one of our first episodes, I mentioned releasing a new episode every Tuesday. Well, during the holidays, I struggled to get this done. I'm very hopeful we will be on track in the very near future. Please be patient with us. Thank you all for taking time out of your busy schedules to let us know your thoughts about the podcast. My motivation in doing this, to be perfectly honest, is to entertain and amuse people. In order to stay motivated, I need to hear from you. So please keep sharing your feedback and ideas with us. Liza's back for this week's test drive. Okay, Liza, let's start out with an update from episode 5, where I agreed to try the milk of magnesia in a very unconventional way. Can you remind our listeners about that?
Well, I'm dying. I've been thinking about you all holiday season, wondering if you're smelling so fresh and so clean. So we are applying milk of magnesia to our armpits as a deodorant. Sounds bizarre, but it works? ?
So right after that episode, I started doing it. And I have to tell you, I think it was working. And then I would work out and I'd smell a little stink, but I was trying to stay the course. So I did this, and I will tell you, there might have been a couple moments of I threw on some secret just because I got a little nervous for a couple events, okay?
I understand.
I fell off the wagon a couple times. However, then I was diligent, and I was using it, and it was working. But then all of a sudden, this crazy thing happened where my pits got really tender, and it was like the lymph nodes were reacting. So the first thing I should say about this, Liza, is it reminded me to get my mammogram, because I hadn't had one.
Well, there you go.
So that's in the W column. All is fine, by the way.
That's
by the
a
way,
good thing.
anyway, but I was like, what is going on with my lymph nodes? And I saw my chiropractor and she was like, well, let me look into this. And then I happened to have a massage scheduled with my massage therapist, Sarah Wilkinson. And I was telling her about it. And she said, now wait, because she listens to the podcast. She said, you changed deodorants, right? And I said, yeah, I started using the milk of magnesia that Liza recommended. She said, I kind of think that maybe that stuff is pulling out the toxins and, the lymph nodes are reacting. So smart Sarah Wilkinson says this.
Oh.
I go home, I take to the web. So I start to research, found a very interesting article, and I just have to, it said that the armpits, they are like exit ramps for your body. And right,
and valid.
Okay, and it said that like when you're putting the aluminum deodorant in, it gets all clogged up. The traffic gets clogged up in there. But so now she thinks like the milk of magnesia actually is pulling all the toxins out, and then your lymph nodes are fighting all those toxins. And okay, after 10 days of kind of tender armpits, all is fine. There is no stink. And what she says in this article, and I'll link to it in the show notes, additional stink is your body getting rid of toxins via the exit ramp of your armpit. I'm telling you, I think she's right.
Interesting.
And other articles I read, and Annie will attest to this because this happened with her husband, Paul, after he started using natural deodorants. Once you clear the toxins and the stink, some people never need deodorant again. My brother-in-law, Paul, Annie's husband, does not even use deodorant anymore, and he does not smell. So
interesting. Isn't that fascinating?
I know, but I'm not ready to start not using any deodorant just yet.
No, I'm not there with you either yet, sister.
But I'm just telling you, I think there's something to
We're
this.
on the right path to clearing out our exit ramps.
Our exit ramps. One way only. We've been blocking things up. So there you go.
Okay, that was a good update. Good update on the MOM situation.
There you go. And MOM, folks, stands for milk of magnesia. And if you want to search the web, you'll see a lot of MOM articles out there. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, okay. Now on to the real reason I have you on the test drive portion of the show. A few years ago, I think it was about 4 years ago, I, in January, started to talk to you about New Year's resolutions. And you had just stumbled upon something. And so with that, I'm turning it over to you. I want you to share this with people because it's kind of life-changing.
Yeah, and now I feel like everyone's doing it. So clearly we were, at cutting edge. So I like to reflect this time of year and just think about how the year went and kind of what I want to do next year. And for many, many years, I made resolutions, as people do, right? And so I would write them all down. And then this is what happens. Tell me if you can relate. I would write down, a good solid 10 to 20 things, totally doable. And then, 3 weeks into January, I've not accomplished any, or I'm already fallen off the wagon, and then I feel like a total failure, and then I just say F it for the rest of the year. That's what people do, right?
Preach.
So, and I just hated that feeling. So about 4 years ago, I was reading a blog post. I tried to find it. I'll see if I can find it, and you can post it in the show notes, about this blogger who wrote about picking one word for the year. And she would spend a couple weeks in December kind of brainstorming the word. It would come to her, and it would kind of keep coming back. She'd test it out a little bit, and then she'd land on it. And I remember reading the article thinking, okay, I can do that. I can pick a word for the year to focus on and have it be sort of mindful and have it tie into something I want to work on or think about or just be in my head all year long. And her word was abundance. And I remember reading it thinking, that's a big word. That's abundance. It sounds very serious.
It sounds huge.
Right. It sounds absolutely huge. So I was a little overwhelmed by it, but I was like, okay, well, that doesn't mean that my word needs to be so big and expansive. So the first year I did it, I picked the word inspire. And at the time I was home with little babies and just not feeling very inspired and just, kind of in the trenches of motherhood and babies. And so that was my word for the year. And then couple years ago, I settled on play, meaning that I just wanted to play with my family more, be more playful, just not be so serious all the time. Last year, the word was dream. Because I think sometimes as grown-ups, we forget to dream a little bit. So that was my word this year. And so I've been kind of going back and forth the last couple weeks.
Before you reveal your word,
yeah,
I'm going to tell what I've done, just FYI.
Let's recap.
So in January that year, I remember... So I think sometimes people also get hung up. I like the way you said, like in December, you should start to reflect and test the word out and see where it is. I would encourage people, they can do this up until, February, March. You know what I mean? Pick your word. And sometimes, to your point, at the beginning of the year, the word comes to you. I mean, I can attest to that for my years. So my first year I did it. I think we did this in 2014. Was that? Yeah, 2014.
That's what I have, yeah.
I chose the word love because I wanted to really open up to loving myself enough to make health a priority, loving life, loving what I was doing, loving the people I was spending time with. And then 2 years ago, my word was pluck.
Which I loved. I remember when you picked it, and I was like, huh?
I know. And then I have stories to go along with that, but it was basically I needed the courage to take some challenges, and mainly some challenges off my bucket list. So pluck was my word. And then last year I chose strength because I needed the strength to make some very difficult decisions. I also needed strength to get through some very difficult times. And I needed to work on my physical strength. And I will tell you that I'm very happy to report that throughout the year, both personally and professionally, strength got me through a lot of challenges. Now, I have a little bit of work to go in the working on my physical strength. But I think with each of these words, you want them to continue on into the next year, don't you think? And live with them every year, I would say. Yeah. So, okay.
Yep.
Drum roll. I'm ready for your word. And I am almost certain with my word, but I'm going to play with it for the next 10 days or so. But let's hear your word.
Yeah. So I have landed on the word light.
Oh, gosh. Okay.
For 2018.
Okay. Talk to me about that.
So it means so many things to me. So I want to feel lighter, just have a lightness about I've had kind of a heavy fall this past year. My brother died in October, and so I just want to feel lighter. I want to physically be lighter. I'm working on some health goals that I am just feeling actually in my body physically lighter. I want to be lighter with my family, meaning not so like stressed out or just take things so seriously. I just want there to be more lightness in my house and in my family. And I just remodeled my kitchen, and so there's more light in my main living room. Light is such a versatile word. I feel like it applies
it's a really great
so
word.
many things. And I want to be the light. I want to be the light for other people. I want to continue to give my light to others. So I landed on it, and then a couple of things happened over the last couple of weeks where it just solidified that is the word.
Okay, I love that word, and you have a theme song. This little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine for the year. We'll just play it every time you come on the show.
Mine.
Yeah, exactly. So you're going to laugh because when I reveal my word,
oh no,
we have a few similarities.
Stop it.
But I think I like your word is more whimsical than my word. My word's a little bit more heavy. So my word, drum roll, is release.
Oh.
And, over the past few years, I have had a growth spurt. So I'm kind of hoping to release some pounds. That's one thing.
It.
So,
I like it.
And then I would like to release some unrealistic expectations I put on myself and maybe on
Preach,
others.
Sister, preach.
Yeah. I also need to release some clutter from my home and life.
I'm nodding.
And I need to let go of some things that maybe hold me back. So my word of 2018 is release.
Release. I like it.
So
the other, real quick, I've added one kind of new thing this year, and it's a mantra for the year.
Okay.
And it's going to relate to another segment we're going to talk about because I stole it from one of my favorite podcasters, Jen Hatmaker. And it's just, again, just kind of like my approach to the year. And it is, if it's not a hell yes, it's a no.
Oh.
Because I sometimes struggle to say no to things. And so I'm really trying when I'm asked, things are asked of me or I'm approaching things, I want to just approach it from, is this a hell yes? If it's not a hell yes, if that's not my immediate reaction to something, then it's a no.
It's a no. Okay, I like that. Okay, well, I'm going to have to think of my mantra then to go with my release word.
No pressure. Just,
okay, yeah,
just
nothing
trying
like
to kick it up a notch a little bit over here.
Throwing me a curveball right on the air. Anyway, okay, so I hope our listeners maybe want to give this a try, and maybe some of them are already doing it, to your point. I know it's fun to post the word around your home. I have a mug that has a little chalkboard on it, and every year I write my word on the mug, so I see it every day when I have coffee, which is kind of fun.
I like it. I like that.
Or maybe there's a sign, there's all those great wooden signs that people are doing in the DIY workshops. Maybe you can do your word for the year.
I always make it my computer home screen.
Oh, that's smart. Oh, that's super smart.
And my phone home screen. So every time I'm looking at it, it's like I see that word multiple times a day.
You maybe have to take a little picture of that for us, and we'll put it in the show notes in the gallery.
I like it.
Okay, will you do that? Okay, so we are hoping with our test drive of this new way to look at resolutions that we will inspire others to take this for a test drive and let us know what they think, or if they've been doing it, let us know how it's been working for them. So that's all for this portion of taking it for a test drive. Liza, thank you, number one, for being on the show. But most importantly, I need to thank you for sharing this idea with me 4 years ago because I love it. So thank you,
You're
my
welcome.
friend. Okay. Have a great day.
You too.
Bye-bye. This is a part of the show where we celebrate years gone by with soundtracks from our life. It's a nod to Casey Kasem's Long Distance dedication, but we don't play the recorded version. Our own Renaissance rebel, John Collins, strums out a little tune on his guitar. Without further ado, it's time for our Long Distance Serenade.
For the last year, I've been working at the Italian Cultural Center in downtown Minneapolis. Yes, the land of Scandinavians actually has an Italian Cultural Center. This is significant because it is the first time that I've actually had a job that directly relates to my major. You see, in the late 80s and the early 90s, I was one of 7 Italian majors at the University of Iowa. You might be correctly thinking that Iowa City is no place to experience Italian culture and learn the Italian language. So my sophomore year, I went to Florence. Now that's a place to learn Italian. The first week I was there, I met Alessandro Bonni, a lovely guy who became a treasured friend. Alessandro was significant in my life because without his friendship, I would never have spoken a word of Italian. After being there for 3 months and really understanding a lot of what was being spoken around me and to me, I had yet to really utter more than a few words of Italian. I was so nervous to make a mistake and uncomfortable that I just really wouldn't speak. So finally, after being there for a few months, Alessandro said, "Meredith, I am not going to speak any more English to you. I am only speaking Italian, and you are wasting your time if you spend any more days here and don't speak Italian." So slowly, because of Alessandro's ultimatum, I began to speak Italian. I've thought of Alessandro so much over the last year because I'm basically in the same boat. After not speaking Italian for 25 years, I find myself around Italians who are so wonderful, and I understand a lot of what they're saying, but I'm back in that space, and I need Alessandro to say, "That's it. You're wasting your time. Start speaking Italian." Alessandro was the first person to introduce me to the band Super Tramp. The song that I have selected for my Long Distance Serenade by Super Tramp, played by the Renaissance Rebel, is Take a Look at My Girlfriend. Ciao Alessandro, grazie.
Take a look at my girlfriend, she's the only one I got. Not much of a girlfriend, never seem to get a lot. Take a jumbo, across the water, you can see America. See the girls in California, hoping it's going to come true. But there's not a lot I can do. Hey, ba-ba-da-bum, bum-ba-dum-da-da-da-da-da. Ba-ba-da-bum, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Hey, 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 la la la, la la la, la la. Yapping, Yiddish yapping, Yiddish yapping, oh Yiddish yap, yap, yap.
He's back. Our Yiddish Yapper is back, joining us to tell us about his wild and crazy 2017 New Year's weekend is Benjamin Rodich. Hi, friend.
Hello, how are you?
Good. From the sound of things, have you recovered yet?
No.
So it was a good one.
My schlemazel continues to haunt me to this day.
Schmazel. Tell me what that means.
Well, schlemazel is bad luck.
Oh no.
And so I'm not a big believer in luck, but for example, my back has been sore because I tried to lift up this Kinahora box that I got in my new condo by myself. And as you know, when you look at something and you probably shouldn't lift it alone, don't. But I
Okay,
did.
can we back up? Okay,
Yeah.
so
Kinahora, should we talk about that?
Kinahora. But first, Schmazel.
Schlemazel.
Schlemazel. Was that used in Laverne and Shirley in their opening?
I think it
Shamil,
was.
Schmazel.
But you know when you've heard the people say mazel tov?
Oh, yeah. I
So
have.
mazel is good luck or
Oh.
luck to you. Schlemazel is not so good.
Wow. Okay, great. Okay, so we don't really want to dwell on the
The
schlemazel.
schlemazel. No.
Okay, so tell me about this big box and what word you're using for that.
So whenever something is very large, or if you see someone put a plate together at the buffet and they come back at the table and in your head you think, oi, what you really say is, what a kinahora plate, which is a massive or a large amount. And it's often used when describing the size of someone's belly, or as we know, the word tuchus.
Tuchus. A kinahora tuchus.
A kinahora tuchus is right. Very good, Christy.
I'm
Crash Test
trying.
Diva's getting her Yiddish down.
Okay, so tell me about this box, and you threw your back out.
This box, it was Kinahora, and I had to get it onto a two-wheeler that the tires were flat, and I should have just stopped and phoned a friend, but rather than that, I had the chutzpah.
That means the balls, right?
Yeah, I had the chutzpah to put it on the thing, knowing all the while, both my chiropractor and everyone on my wellness team would say, Benjamin, what do you know about this? All this will do is bring you surus.
Surus. Pain?
Surus is just problems. And I don't mean to be dramatic. I mean, surus is more.
Oh, but Benjamin, let's be
like
honest. You do
the
mean.
the plagues of the world were the surus, but this is just surus. It's not Gansa surus, but it's just surus.
What's Gansa surus?
Gansa is like big problems.
Okay.
Like huge. Like if you got a Gansa backache.
Oh, Gansa.
Yeah, it's a large amount.
Okay, so wait, let's back up. So when you fill your buffet plate too big, what's that word?
Kinahora.
And then Gansa and Kinahora both mean kind of large?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
I mean, you could do. Depends on kind of what kind of sentence you're using them in.
Okay.
But yeah.
Okay. So let's talk. First of all, can we talk about what was in the box?
A vanity for my bathroom, which had my plumber told me I needed drawers on the left, not on the right. I mean, oy vey, who doesn't tell somebody what side to buy their drawers on? But by the time I was done with that, and I got through all of this, by New Year's I could just plutz.
Plutz. What's plutz mean?
To collapse or faint, or just, You know, just you're just
Are you
done.
sure you
so
didn't plutz after you went to the bar?
I don't know. But I thought the best way to get over this kinohora 2 months of having Surus in my back and kvetching about everything.
Kvetching? Now that's kind of griping, bitching.
Complaining, yeah, exactly. I thought I'd go out for the New Year's weekend and kind of celebrate and have a little kiki. So Saturday night,
Wait. Kiki. Is that a drink?
Well, kiki's not really Yiddish.
Oh.
Kiki's more of like have a little party.
Okay.
But I thought, you know what? Saturday night I'm going to stay home. I'm going to get ready for the New Year. Lo and behold, at 11:15, a friend drags me out to the bar, and I don't leave my house after 10. I mean, it's not kosher. So, but I went out and I stayed out, and then the next day I went to the Vikings game, and then I was out until the Gansa hour of 3 o'clock in the morning, New Year's Eve, and then I woke up and went to a New Year's Day party, and today at work, I could have plotzed all day.
Plotzed. I'm sorry, friend. I do you know what?
I look like a Zadie walking around work.
What's
right
a
now.
Zadie?
A grandfather.
A Zadie.
I look like a Zadie.
Some grandfathers are hot.
Or a bubby, depending on
What's a booby?
Grandmother, bubby.
Oh. A friend.
An age that you and I are far away from.
Oh
my
God,
friend.
I feel like I'm approaching quickly, but thank you. Friend, listen, I feel like you overwhelmed me with all the words. I can't even do a recap.
I can help you do a little one.
Okay,
if you want.
let's do it together.
All right, so we started off lifting a kinohora box that was too big. It was a gansa box. It was too big for me, and then as a result of that, now I've got surus.
Pain.
Which is great pain or a plague. Horrible, terrible. So I've got surus in my back, and I've been kvetching.
Bitching.
About it all time. Meanwhile, I look like a Zadie.
An old man.
When I'm at work, and by the end of the day, I could just plotz.
Fall down. Is that right? Collapse.
Yeah,
collapse.
Or to faint.
But wait, we forgot the first word. It was bad luck.
The first word.
The bad luck.
Schlemazel.
Schlemazel.
And all of this, so my grandmother used to say, your mazel, you're going to trip on your way out the door, which meant like your luck. But my schlemazel.
Your bad luck.
In the midst of me trying to get into a new home and get through a holiday season and go to Palm Springs and have a kiki and come back home and then go to another kiki and celebrate with my friends, now I've got surus. My schlemazel, I've got surus.
Well, thank goodness. In the new year, you have a chiropractor you can go to.
Baruch Hashem.
What does that mean?
Thank you, God.
Thank you, God, for the chiropractor. Well, I hope your schlemazel turns into...
Mazel.
Mazel? Is that just luck? Or what's good luck?
Mazel tov.
Mazel tov is good luck.
Exactly. And, you know, to each other right now, we say for the second time sort of. We say we have New Year's in Judaism in the end of September, but this is also New Year's, so we say L'Shana Tova, which means Happy New Year.
Friend, do you mean to tell me that you have an excuse to celebrate New Year twice a year? Because that just seems like...
I wasn't supposed to tell anybody that. So basically, the thing about Jews that I think is so great is that we go to the shul or the synagogue to ask for forgiveness for what we will undoubtedly do. So we just assume that we're going to screw up, and we go there on our New Year and ask for forgiveness for what's going to happen. And then, if we really have bad schlemazel between September and January 1st, we get to kind of get rid of all of the bad mazel all over again.
Wow. So double New Year's. It sounds
Double
like a
New
good
Year's.
thing. Another benefit for, being a Jew.
Exactly. I could write a list.
Well, I have a feeling maybe you will throughout the year with
Maybe.
us. Okay.
I make a coffee table book. Reasons to be a Jew.
Well, that I think is number one. You get to celebrate New Year's twice.
Exactly.
Although,
number one.
but I don't know. In case,
I don't know. The bar mitzvah thing is pretty cool.
Okay. Well, good. I can't wait for the rest of this story. We need to have you back on very soon because I have to
Excellent.
tell you something. I've had people tell me how much they enjoy you on the show. So, friend, thank you. And I can't.
You mean I've got a fan club?
Well, there's at least one.
Oh, Facebook status update. I've got a Gansa fan club.
Gansa. What is that huge?
Huge.
Huge. Okay, well, I hope your Gonza head with that Gonza fan club can make it through the door to work tomorrow with your pain in the back. What was the pain again? Ari? Sorry. What's pain? Surus. I hope you make it to work tomorrow with that Gonza Surus in your back. Alavai. Is that goodbye?
Your mouth to God's ears.
Oh, okay. I got to work on this, friend. I think I'm failing, but thank you for being kind.
We might need a cheat sheet for you.
That or some flashcards so I can study up before we talk each week.
But if anybody knew how glamorous you look right now, they would never judge you.
Listen, since you're my stylist, I mean,
you guys might not know this, but we actually get dressed for like a night out on the town when we record these. I mean, we're like polished queens.
Okay, it's -14 below zero. We're both wearing hats, and it's not pretty. But folks, that's why we're doing podcasts.
There you go.
Okay, honey. I can't wait to have you back soon. Keep thinking about some new words, and I hope your back feels better.
Thanks so much.
Okay, bye-bye. After Benjamin and I quit recording, I told him I couldn't figure out what story I should tell to close this week's episode. Now, over the years, you can imagine he has heard many of my stories, and he suggested the following. Almost a decade ago, I turned 40. Now, the festivities were endless. It started with a cruise of the Mediterranean with my dear friend Mark Howard. Upon my return, my family, they had a dinner party for me. There were a lot of happy hours with friends and countless shenanigans with my coworkers. The Friday after I returned, well, the festivities, they had subsided, and I finally had a chance to sit down and reflect. Major milestone birthdays, they're cause for reflection. I tend to refer to it as cumpleaños contemplation. Now, for those of you who did not have Miss Ray for Spanish at Mankato East High, that means birthday contemplation. Well, I poured myself a glass of wine and sat down on my couch and started to think back on the past 40 years. And then I started to ponder the next 40. I thought back on this article I read while I was lounging poolside on the cruise. Yeah, probably on the Lido deck. Actually, I think the Lido deck was only on the Love Boat. Anyway, the article I was reading said, if you want to live longer, you need to dance. I thought about that. Now, I love to dance. I took lessons from the time I was 4 until I was 18. In my 20s, we went out dancing all the time. And in my mid-20s, there wasn't anything better than a wedding dance. But as I've gotten older, the wedding dances are fewer and farther between. And going, quote unquote, clubbing, well, that would just make me look like the creepy old gal on the dance floor. Okay, except if you're on a cruise ship. I mean, on that cruise ship, I tore it up. I tore it up on all the clubs. And at the age of 40, I also brought the average age of the dance floor down by at least 20 years. Okay, so I was back on my couch in my home, having my cumpleaños contemplation, and I thought about it, and dance clubs were out. And let's just say at that ripe old age of 40, no wedding invitations were flooding my mailbox. So what's a girl to do? I thought about it and I thought, you know what? You just need to get up and dance. Just play some music and dance. I continued to sit on my couch and I thought about it for a few minutes more. And then finally, I got up and I put on some dance music. Okay, so since I was already standing up, I thought, you might just start dancing. But let's be honest, it felt a little strange. So I picked up my dog, Franny. She was going to be my dance partner. Well, she was my dance partner for all of about 20 seconds until she got bored and leapt out of my arms. But here's the thing. My tuchus was now off the couch. So I thought about it and I thought, just keep dancing, just keep going. And after the first song ended, I stayed up and I kept dancing. And my living room, well, it turned into my private dance club. My timid dance moves, well, let's just say they transitioned and I released my inhibitions and I embraced that expression, dance like nobody is watching. Nobody was watching. I had my blinds drawn so my neighbors wouldn't think I was completely nuts. And I was full on flash dance maniacing around my living room. I did. I'd made up a verb. I kind of like it. Maniacing kind of fits me. Okay, after about 40 minutes of dancing with myself, I was exhausted and I was sweaty. And I fell into a heap onto my couch. But I was exuberant and I was energized. And I thought, maybe there was something to that article I read on the cruise ship. And maybe, just maybe, there is a bit more to this story. More than just a goofy living room dance party for one. Perhaps there is a metaphor to be drawn as we start 2018. If I had to sum it up, I'd say, well, metaphorically speaking, the world is your dance floor. Are you going to sit on the sidelines of life and think about doing things? Just watch life happen? Or are you going to get up and dance and make life happen? The moral of the story? Well, it's pretty simple. Just dance.
What do you do?
That's it for episode 8. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, share it with your friends or leave us a message on your favorite social media platform. Thanks to our digital marketing gal, Josie Eichers, we have links to all of it in our show notes. Who knows, maybe your comment will be used in an upcoming episode. Big thanks to Benjamin Rodich, our Yiddish yapper, for all those big words to start off our new year. Thanks, Liza Atkinson, for sharing your Word of the Year idea with all our listeners. I'm hoping this idea, maybe it will be a great solution for those people who are feeling a bit overwhelmed about New Year's resolutions. I want to thank Meredith Johnson for sending in the Long Distance Serenade. I also want to ask you guys to send in some of your own song requests. I know you have them. A story about a song that takes you back to a specific time or place. Please send them in so our Renaissance rebel, John Collins, can get to work. Now, full disclosure on this week's Serenade, we actually had to go back to Meredith and ask her to choose a different Super Tramp song. Her first one was Goodbye Stranger, and let's just say it was a bit out of JC's range, especially as he was still battling back from his bout of laryngitis. Thanks for being flexible, Meredith. Join us for episode 9. Mark Howard will be back to share one of his own ding-dong doozies. And Annie has been taking some moisturizing products for a test drive to beat the dry skin blues we Northerners suffer in January. Thanks again for listening. I hope you've been able to escape a little of your own reality and enjoyed the show. If you have a friend you think might like this little variety podcast, please share it with them. And if you are listening on an Apple product, please give us a review on iTunes. Remember, bruises are like life. The harder you get hit, the more colorful and interesting they get.